Hi, are you confused? I'm a little confused right now, I'm not gonna lie. We're trying something a little bit different, a little bit unique. Hopefully not, hopefully not a little bit boring or repetitive or annoying. As of a few days ago, hopefully, depending on how long it takes me to edit all this together, I covered the SK61. This version is known as the Geek SK61 on Banggood.com, which is where this came from. They sent me this keyboard to tell you guys all about, and it was sort of a semi re-review slash comparison to the GK61 because, as I mentioned in that video, this is basically a GK61 on the inside. Well, at the end of that video, I mentioned that Epomaker also sent me a GK61, but this one is a little bit different in that it uses optical brown switches instead of the red. So this has tactile switches, whereas the other one has linear switches. And so I wanted to go into this video to do sort of a sound test slash comparison between the two. I am not going to go into details again about this keyboard really at all. I've already now covered it twice. This is more just to talk about things having to do with the keyboard, some of my confusion, as well as showing you guys a difference in the sound between the tactile version and the linear version. And I'm also going to compare it to some other tactile switch keyboards that I have laying around the house. So a big thank you and shout out to Epomaker for sending this keyboard out for me to demonstrate for you guys. And thank you for watching this video. If you're watching this and you've already seen the last one, thanks for sticking through the long haul in this crazy little time that we're having. So one thing I'm a little confused about when it comes to the GK61, the SK61, and so on is the branding. On Banggood.com, the GK61 and SK61 both say Geek, but the one I have here from Epomaker says on their website that it is the Epomaker SK61. And then I get the boxes and they both say Skylung. I don't understand, but I know there's a whole thing out there with OEM devices and being sold by different brands and being basically the same thing, but like literally these have no difference in appearance. The retail box is exactly the same, so it's a little confusing. Just a little rant I wanted to go on. Now for the Epomaker SK61, there are some options that are available that are not available on Banggood.com. On Banggood, you can buy the red, brown, or blue Gateron optical switch versions of the keyboard, but on Epomaker's website, you have red, brown, and black. None of that nasty blue clicky switches. Get that garbage out of here. I'm teasing, that's just my opinion. If you like clicky switches, you know, it's okay to be wrong. But their Amazon listing shows that there is a blue switch version available. It's just for some reason not on their website. This version actually comes in 3 color schemes. It has the white that I have here, it has the black, which uses a black case and dark gray keycaps instead of these light gray and white keycaps. And again, there is the pink version, which I don't super like. I like pink, I just don't like the lime green escape key that, in my opinion, really clashes and throws the entire color scheme off. Now, one thing I mentioned in the previous video that I didn't like about the pink version is that the legends are different. I just don't like how they look or their placement. They're not centered like they are on the white and black versions. Except maybe they are. Their mileage may vary because on their Amazon listing, it does show different pink keycaps where the legends are centered. So I don't know. I don't know what you're gonna get. Just if you buy the pink version, just expect that you might be taking a 50-50 gamble on that one depending on where you buy it from. And you know what? But while we're at it, people ask me on basically all my keyboard reviews, especially the GK61, is it compatible with PS4 or Xbox One? And to that, my answer is I don't know. I didn't even bother to think of that. I have not tested that. I don't have an Xbox One to test on. I could test on my PS4, but I won't. What I will say is whatever you can normally do with the keyboard on a PS4 and Xbox One is still going to function with this keyboard, and any other keyboard I review, I don't see why they wouldn't function with the PS4 or Xbox One, because I mean, they're all keyboards, they're all USB keyboards that just plug in and they go. But if you plan to do any kind of customization in the software, I imagine that's all going to be basically locked into the PC. I don't know. Okay, so I'm going to shut up for a bit and do a sound comparison between the red linear switch version and the tactile brown switch version that Epomaker has provided. Now I will say, after testing both of these out for a little while, I'm a little conflicted as to which one I prefer. And that's saying something, considering if you know me, you know I'm a fanboy of linear switches, and I really love the GK61 and the SK61 red switches. The Gateron optical reds are just really smooth to me, just out of the box, and I've always liked how the GK61 felt, which is why when Epomaker reached out to me, I requested to try something different and go with the tactile browns. And I will say it's quite something. I have used tactile switches before. I do like tactile switches. I have just kind of come to prefer the feeling of the smoothness of the linear switch, but you know, there's still something about tactile. It's got this satisfying feeling when you're typing, of just that slight bump that you feel. I think I do prefer the sound of the alpha keys on the red version, but the feeling, I don't know, there's just something satisfying feeling about the crunchiness of a tactile switch. I don't know which one I prefer. The stabilizers on both keyboards, still not great. I feel like they might be slightly better on the tactile version, or at least maybe not feel as bad because there is the tactile bump. The spacebar is ever so slightly better feeling on the brown one I have here. Neither are great, but I think that the brown version, the spacebar, feels a little bit better. And now, just for funsies, just for lulz, for giggles, I'm going to compare the tactile switches on the SK61 versus some other tactile keyboards that I've tested out before. First up, we have the Redragon Draconic K530, and here's how it sounds versus the SK61. Now, I know this is not a one-to-one, apples-to-apples comparison. The brown switches on the Draconic are Utemu switches, whereas the browns on this SK61 are not only Gateron, but they're optical switches, so they're like inherently smoother switches. Maybe smooth's not the right word, but they just have a different feel altogether versus your traditional switch because of that optical technology. It's also hard to compare the feel. Obviously, you can't feel it through the video, that would be kind of weird, but as far as what I feel, I don't know. I kind of prefer the feeling a little bit of the Draconic. And here is the Razer Black Widow Tournament Edition Chroma something. It's got a bunch of names in it, but I forgot that I had this when I was recording the initial part of this video. It's got the Razer Orange tactile switches, and so here is how it sounds. I will say it's like an okay keyboard. It doesn't feel very tactile in comparison to all the others. That may be because it's the one that we've had the longest. It's actually one of the first mechanical keyboards I've ever used, and when I did use it, I used it for quite a while, unlike the rest of these keyboards. To me, it's just not quite as tactile feeling or sounding as the SK61. It almost feels linear by comparison, but like a scratchy linear, because there is still a slight bump. And this last comparison is going to be completely different. It is the Logitech G915 TKL, which is a low-profile keyboard that costs over $200. It uses low-profile Logitech tactile switches, low-profile keycaps. It is just a very different sound, but a pretty similar feeling as far as the tactility. So just take a listen. So as you can hear, at least in my ears, the sound test is no comparison. I much prefer the chunkier, thicker feeling and sounding experience on the SK61, mainly because of those keycaps, those GSA profile keycaps. Just give it a nice feeling and sound, and it's just, I really like it. But I thought it would be funny to compare a $65 keyboard to a $230 keyboard that is low profile. You can just hear the spectrum. These are all tactile switches. They're all supposed to be like equivalent to Cherry MX Browns. They're all very different feeling and sounding, and I thought it would be fun to dig into that a little bit. And that is the brown switch version of the SK61. A very nice typing experience, one that I can definitely see myself coming back to here and there. I will say though, it is identical to the SK61 red version that I have here in front of me. It is a very different typing experience. You can definitely feel, I mean, obviously, linear and tactile switches are different. That's why people prefer one over the other. But I gotta say, it's very, very like astoundingly different. I guess for me, having mostly linear switches and using those the most extensively for a long time, having these two in front of me to compare is like, wow, that's different, isn't it? Now, I will have an Amazon affiliate link in the description, as well as a direct link to Epomaker's website, which is not an affiliate link, but hey, that's fine. If you want to buy directly from them, by all means, check it out, check them out. There's just different options for you to purchase, different color cases and keycaps, different color switches, all kinds of different options for you guys to explore. If you've watched my GK61 video and the previous SK61 video, and now you're here at this point, at this SK61 video, give yourself a round of applause and a pat on the back, and put a comment that says MVP gang. You're part of the MVP gang right now. Put it in the comments below if you've done all those things. Be honest. We're gonna use the honor system here. All right, I gotta go. Thank you again to Epomaker for providing this keyboard for review. And thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, you can check out this video here about that topic, and this video here about something completely different. And you can click on my face to subscribe. Thanks again. Peace out.